Namaste and welcome to Sutra Network, your trusted link to news, views, and stories that matter. Here we'll untangle the threads of today's biggest headlines and deeper issues. Today we'll explore major news shaping the world and India. What is the current status of Israel-Hamas ceasefire plan being discussed by Netanyahu and Trump? POK protests over neglect. What action has the Congress party demanded from Amit Shah regarding the alleged death threat to Rahul Gandhi? What are the key elements of Thailand's new policy? Jaishankar's focus on global de-risking and the severe nuclear warning issued by Russia. Finally, what is Sam Altman's bold claim about the number of jobs AI will devour by 2030? On the eve of his meeting with US President Donald Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced on Sunday that Israel is working on new ceasefire plan with the White House. Netanyahu is facing heavy international pressure to end the war, particularly after the death toll in Gaza surpassed 66,000 Palestinians. Trump shared a 21-point proposal during their Monday meeting. Arab officials briefed on the plan say it calls for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages within 48 hours, and a gradual withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. Netanyahu, who remains committed to the destruction of Hamas, repeated his offer to allow Hamas operatives to leave Gaza if they finish the war and release all remaining hostages. The ceasefire talk had stalled following an Israeli strike on Hamas leadership in Doha, a move that reportedly caused impatience from President Trump, with key Western allies recognizing a Palestinian state and the Europe Union considering sanctions. The international pressure on Israel has intensified. Based on the current situation, it seems unlikely that a full ceasefire will happen immediately. While Netanyahu and Trump continue discussions and there is international pressure, the lack of formal agreement from Hamas and resistance within Israel's government make a swift resolution difficult. Ceasefire talks have often stalled in the past due to mistrust, security concerns, and political calculation on both sides. So, while a temporary or partial pause in fighting might occur, a lasting and comprehensive ceasefire in the near term appears uncertain unless both sides make significant concessions, which historically has been very challenging. Massive protests have erupted across Pakistan-occupied Kashmir on September 29, with thousands marching in Muzaffarabad, Kotli, and Rawalkot, leading to a shutdown wheel jam strike. The Awami Action Committee organized the demonstration to demand political reforms, autonomy, and economic relief. The core demands stem from deep dissatisfaction over political marginalization, specifically the 12 elite reserve legislative assembly seats, and severe economic hardship. Protesters are demanding subsidized flour and electricity and free education health facilities. As tensions escalated, the administration suspended internet services since midnight to curb mobilization. Clashes have been reported and Islamabad has deployed troops. Earlier talks between AAC leaders and representatives of PM Shehbaz Sharif failed, resulting in the indefinite strike and reported use of tear gas and firing on civilians in Kotli. The Congress party wrote to Home Minister Amit Shah on Sunday, September 28, demanding immediate legal action against Printu Mahadev, whom they identified as a BJP spokesperson and former ABVP leader. Congress General Secretary K.C. Venugopal described Mahadev's comments during a televised debate as a chilling and heinous death threat against the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi. The controversy stems from Mahadev's comment on a Malayalam channel where he stated that if Rahul Gandhi attempted a Bangladesh-like protest in India, a bullet will fall even on Rahul Gandhi's chest. Mahadev suggested that, unlike the Bangladesh government, during those protests, the Indian people support the Narendra Modi government. Venugopal warned that any failure by the Home Minister to act swiftly against Mahadev would be interpreted as complicity and the normalization of violence against the leader of the opposition. The Congress has demanded immediate and exemplary legal action in the matter. Thailand's new Prime Minister, Anutin Chanvarakul, delivered his inaugural policy speech on Monday, promising to address economic struggles and push for a more democratic constitution. Anutin faces a self-imposed 4-month deadline to call new elections, a condition set up by People's Party in exchange for supporting his premiership. His government will support a referendum for an elected assembly to draft a new charter while upholding the constitutional monarchy. On foreign policy, Anautin plans to use diplomacy to resolve the ongoing border conflict with Cambodia, a dispute that led to a 5-day armed conflict in July. He also committed to a referendum on whether to revoke the existing border memorandum with Cambodia. Domestically, his agenda includes relieving household debt, reducing utility costs, and cracking down on corruption and crime. At the 80th United Nations General Assembly, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar highlighted the growing unpredictability in the global order, noting that even few months, weeks, or twists can significantly alter international dynamics. Speaking at the ORF panel on At the Heart of Development, Aid, Trade, and Technology, he emphasized India's push to de risk the world by creating more resilient and diversified supply chains. Jaishankar warned that trade protectionism, tariff unpredictability, and coercive supply chain practices by major global powers, particularly the US and China, are eroding trust in the international system and disproportionately harming the global south. He stressed that countries must hedge against uncertainty, safeguard themselves from market risks, and build robust policy framework to handle unforeseen contingencies. Reiterating India's position, Jaishankar underscored that de-risking is essential, whether due to limited source of supply or over-dependence on a particular market, while affirming that India will always maintain its freedom of choice in global economic engagement. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev delivered a severe warning on Monday, stating that if European Union leaders provoke a war with Moscow, the conflict could swiftly escalate to include weapons of mass destruction. Medvedev, the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, asserted on Telegram that the EU simply cannot afford a war with Russia, emphasizing that the possibility of a fatal accident always exists. These threats follow claims by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov that NATO and the EU have essentially declared war by supporting Ukraine. The geopolitical climate remains highly volatile, underscored by recent airspace violations in NATO member countries. Medvedev's remarks continue a pattern of invoking nuclear threats, previously referring the dead hand system. India's Asia Cup 2025 victory over Pakistan was marked by a refusal to accept their trophy from ACC president and PCB chief Mohsin Naqvi, who is also a senior Pakistani politician. The decision was conscious and unanimous, according to BCCI Secretary Dewajit Sakya, who stated the team would not receive an award from a leader representing a nation with whom India is in conflict. This stance was further fueled by Naqvi's alleged controversial social media post and strong anti-India remarks. India was willing to accept the trophy from a neutral official, but Naqvi insisted on presenting it himself. In the ensuing standoff, Naqvi reportedly walked away with the trophy and medals. The BCCI has slammed the act as unsportsmanlike and plans to lodge a strong protest at the upcoming ICC conference. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman claims that artificial intelligence is advancing much faster than anticipated and could impact jobs by automating 30% to 40% of office tasks by 2030. According to Altman, AI models like GPT-5 are already becoming smarter than humans and could reach superintelligence levels by the end of the next decade, solving problems that humans cannot tackle. Altman warned that the job market will change. Many existing roles will vanish, but new jobs will also emerge. Therefore, developing meta skills like how to learn will be crucial for humans. Emphasizing AI's growing impact, Altman stressed that it is essential for the technology to always align with human values and managed cautiously. He also indicated that OpenAI is not limited to software and is considering building AI-based services that could usher in the third major computing revolution. Altman concluded that AI will not only transform industries, but will completely reshape everyday life and the way we work. Typhoon Bulao made an earlier than expected landfall in Vietnam's northern coastal province of Ha Tinh on Monday morning, forcing immediate emergency measures. The storm came ashore after leaving at least 20 people dead in the central Philippines, mostly due to drownings and falling trees, and displacing approximately 23,000 families. In Vietnam, authorities evacuated thousands of residents. The coastal city of Da Nang planned to relocate over 210,000 people, while you prepare to move over 32,000 coastal residents. The storm brought winds up to 133 km per hour and storm surges exceeding a meter. The typhoon caused widespread infrastructure damage, with state media reporting that over 347,000 families lost power. Gusts ripped off roofs and toppled concrete pillars. The Civil Aviation Authority suspended operations at 4 coastal airports, including Da Nang International Airport. Forecasters warn that slow-moving storm will bring further heavy rain through October 1st, raising the risk of severe flash floods and landslides in the northern and central provinces. Now time for today's piece of information. Did you know that India is the world's largest producer of spices, exporting them to over 150 countries? Indian cuisine is famous for its diverse flavors and regional specialties. Popular dishes include butter chicken, naan, and biryani. In North India, dosa, idli, sambar in the south, and rasgulla, machar jhol, that is fish curry in the east, dhokla, pav bhaji, and Goan fish curry in the west. Dishes like rohan josh from Kashmir, sarson ka saag from Punjab, dal bati churma from Rajasthan, and the vegetarian cuisine of Gujarat further enrich India's food culture. This is why India is called the land of spices. For more such global updates, subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon, and do visit our website.